Welcome back to the 40 Portal podcast. I'm Catherine Zach. It has been several weeks since my last podcast, These Are My Sins. I did take a few weeks off the podcast because I was co-leading a women's retreat to India. And tell me if any of this sounds familiar. Maybe not that piece, but before I left on this several week long trip, pilgrimage, adventure, once in a lifetime kind of experience, I had a really long list of things that I needed to get done, including making sure that like the 3 episodes of the podcast that I wanted to have come out while I was gone were going to come out. And just like a really classic example of like an inhumane amount of expectations on one person, myself, and a deep default programming toward self-imposed deadlines. All these things kind of crashing into one lesson that I am still learning. Oh my God, I'm still learning. Needless to say, that is a long way of saying, of course I didn't get it all done. And you hit that point where you look at yourself and you're like, well, still doing that. Okay. And you will do a thing until you don't. This is what I know. As I am still learning. And so the podcast didn't come out. But you know what? It's okay. It is not a problem. And here we are. We are back. And today's episode, it's a really good one. It's a really, really good one. One of the things that I came back from India with was a deep rededication to doing inner work in community with other women. Like this was a group of women, perhaps one of the most in tune with themselves and in tune with each other groups that I've ever collected and been a part of. It was just fabulous. The women took really good care of themselves. And then from that place, we're able to take really good care of each other and the collective, not in a way that was like porous boundaries or overgiving or codependent. Like it was just very heartening to see what happens when women can stand in their own 2 feet, on their own 2 feet, stand in themselves, whatever messy place they're in, and then from that place in a really integrated, clean, clear, boundaried way, support other women around them. Like that's what happened, and it was phenomenal. And makes me really excited for my next women's retreat, which I am hosting in the Hudson Valley in June. It's a 2-day affair, a 3-day affair, 2.5 days. A much tinier little micro dose of like doing inner work in community surrounded by really strong and also in progress women. I've got a few spots left for that retreat, and I will probably talk about it. I'm going to do a solo episode coming up. I will probably tell you more about the retreat in that solo episode if there are still spots left. But I will link to it in the show notes because we are down to our last few spots. And if you are a woman standing on the brink of change and deep transformation, whatever portal you're in, whether you're turning 40, you're changing your career, you're like adjusting to some phase of motherhood or not, you're changing your relationship, you're changing your relationship to yourself, and you want to sit with other women and explore the portal that you're in, this retreat is for you. I will link to it. Join us. It's going to be phenomenal. And June in the Hudson Valley is like a definition of just absolute, utter, beautiful, delightful weather and experience and all of it. So if you're interested, click the link. You're going to want to be there. Okay, all of this is a really good preamble to my episode today with my dear friend, Alison Matheny, Al, as I call her in the episode, because she embodies all those things. And she talks in this episode about the portals that she has been in, the portals she's walking in now, and also like a really beautiful example of the importance of female friendships and surrounding yourself with the right friends and how powerful that can be when people just know you and get you and see you as you are. There's some really good stuff in this episode about that. And she is so funny. She is such an open book. She's the raw deal, as she says, and she is. And I always learn so much when I'm with her in my real life. And so yeah, this just feels like a really good hang with her that we get to share with you. And I hope that you feel like you're sitting there with us. I know you will get something out of this too. She's super honest. She's super honest about where she is in her life and how that looks way different than the expectations she had for where she would be in this moment, which I know is something that a lot of us are also confronting. And I think her story, Allison's like gorgeous archetype, is not one that we hear enough of about women in midlife. And so I'll let you find out for yourself why that is and who she is. Go ahead, grab a mug of something warm or whatever your drink of choice is today and saddle up because this is one of my favorite combos so far. Okay, thank you so much for being here. So I distinctly remember meeting you. And maybe this isn't the first time I actually met you, but this is what I have in my head. You are sitting on the bench in Mary's dining room at Marin Terrace. And I think you were next to Tracy. And it was just this very fresh, early COVID, we're starting to emerge from COVID. We're not in bubbles anymore. And it was a party. So it was one of the first parties. I don't know. We felt socially fresh at this moment. And I probably hadn't met a ton of new people on a regular basis in real life in a while. And you were just so funny. And you weren't even talking to me. You were just talking. And I'm just watching you wisecrack. And I'm like, I really want to meet this woman.
Who is she?
Yeah. Do you remember that or no? You're that's welcome to my life.
Maybe, vaguely, yeah. I mean, that sounds pretty much correct. Was that before or after the Portugal?
That was before. And then maybe that was the fall before. And then cut to you and I are going on this group of 10 women.
Cut to you were in Portugal.
Yeah, cut to
on an extravagant vacation.
Correct. With 10 women on this trip.
Fabulous women.
Fabulous. And that's really where I got to know you. But I don't know. You're one of those people too that you're just easy to know.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Kath.
Yeah. Do you feel that? Do you feel like you click with people?
I feel like I'm a bit of an open book. I feel like I'm transparent and honest and, for better or worse. I have trouble hiding emotion or posturing or being something that I'm not. So yeah, that tracks.
Do you feel like you've always been an open book, or is that something you've gotten more comfortable with as you've gotten older?
I think in some sense, I don't think it was really ever a choice. I think for me, it feels very the only way. So I think, yeah, I've always been like that. I think being in my 40s now, I'm 44 at this moment, 45 this year. I feel like I am getting more comfortable in that role of myself. Whereas I think, when we're younger and there's so many outside influences and pressure to be a certain way, as you get older, it's easier to be who you are. And I don't know if easy is the right term, as much as you're just more comfortable being who you are. You're less aware of maybe who you're not. If that's...
That's good. That's really good.
It's not a choice. And it's just it is, you are who you are. It is what it is. I am who I am.
I am who I am. But like I definitely feel like you're an open book, and I think I am too. And I also feel like that's really I just love connecting with people right there. And those are the people that I find that I connect with the most readily. And I just that's who I'm looking for when I'm out in the world. That's who I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
I think with friendships and relationships, it is for me the best way to be because you know that the people that stick around or the people that you're closest with see your true self. Like I'm never hiding anything. It's a more authentic, I think, deeper relationship, quicker.
Mm-hmm. Like going to Portugal on the trip.
Like going
Like,
to Portugal. Yeah. And I think, even that is not like, or maybe it is a great example because I'm pretty sure I was on my period.
you were.
Um, and that's pretty much all you need to know. So it's kind of like that's a stressful time for me physically and mentally. And so, that's a raw deal that you got. And look at that. We're still here.
But that's the deal I want. And also, I remember being like really fascinated with you on that trip because you were like, at, maybe you're 41. Yeah. But like you were like on the other side of 40. And I think that's when that was like 3 years ago. That's when I was like really starting to be like, huh, I am curious about this birthday that's coming up. So I just remember regarding you and being like, I just learning so much from just observing you and being around you on that trip.
Yeah, I think the 40 portal whispers kind of start around 37, or at least that's how it was for me.
Do you remember what that was? Like, can you
Oh
describe what you
gosh.
remember?
Yes, I can. Kath, don't make me sing. Um so for me, just to like get into it, um 40 so I am a single woman. I've never been married. I'm from the South. Debatable, but I'm from Florida. So grew up with certain ways that I thought my life would be and ways that I wanted my life to be. Specifically being in a partnership and having children. So when I was around 37, you're kind of like, okay, tick tock. I was single, no children, obviously. And so you kind of start feeling that pressure. I think that, all women who want to be mothers feel. And so then when I turned 40, still single, still no children, um, it was more of a acceptance, or not even acceptance at that point. I feel like that's the stage I'm at now at 44. 40 was kind of a realization, and coming to terms with and acknowledging that my life was not going to be how I envisioned it to be. And so now what does that look like? And now it's like this. I had a yoga teacher once who said that in practice, and now it's like this. And so for me, 40 was a bit of a liminal space, not really a turning point, but more of just a, kind of really seeing myself for who I was and not waiting around subconsciously, and also acknowledging that very grief that is kind of under that layer, that's not really recognized by society, you know what I mean? So it was kind of the beginning of dealing with that. And now I feel at 44 like I'm on the other side of that, but it was kind of that's how it was for me. 40.
Mic drop. You skipped around to some of the questions, like actually you're answering them, but you know what? I'm going to back us up so we can give orientation. Like my first 40 portal question is, what is your name and your pronouns? So people know who they're like, who is this like wise woman I'm listening to? what's your name? What's your pronouns? But also go deeper. Is there a story about your name? How does your name map onto your identity? How does it feel like it fits or not at this age?
My full name is Alison Jane Matheny. My Allison comes from Alice and Alan, my grandparents, my great grandparents. And Jane is a middle name that I share with my mother, the iconic Melanie Matheny, Melanie Jane. Um, and my pronouns are she, her. Um, I am a cis hetero woman. And what was the other questions? I've always loved my name. Um, I have no problem. I'm Allison with one L. My mom and dad called me AJ. I've never gone by Allie, but happy to. A lot of people like you call me Al. Um, I love a nickname. To my nieces, I'm Aunt Bunny. Bunny is a nickname that I got, well, I went by in college, Go Gators, and then also kind of attached to in my New York City life, a bit of an old Southern broad. So yeah, those are my you know, human identifiers.
That's good. Well, that's like the second question, which you've started to fill in some of your like labels, like how you would categorize yourself. But I was wondering if you could introduce yourself like below, before, beyond your labels or your resume or like the boxes. Like, what would you say about who you are?
That's a tough one. I mean, I would say, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like, I am just a being. I'm just kind of, uh, you know, like a weird ball of energy, like existing within and as part of space and environment. And, I'm very attuned to that. Um, I'm glad you didn't ask that because it's really hard for me to say, I'm like a business owner and a writer and a daughter. You know what I mean? And I think that doesn't encompass um, the totality of people. But then also at the same time, I feel like so a part of everything else, you know, non human mostly. So for me, I feel very part of that fabric. Um, so I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. There's a couple things I want to say. Number one, I feel like a point where you and I connect on, although I don't know if we've ever named it explicitly, which I think is really interesting to your question. I'm just adjusting my heating pad. Um,
Girl.
yeah. So, but like you said, I am a being. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of the time you and I are connecting on the tension around the doing, like how much we're supposed to do, or like how much of our value, yes, is derived from our doing. So I just think it's really cool that you started with I am a being because I'm like, oh, that's like one of the things you and I are really like often talking about is that tension between ourselves as being and all the things that we need to do.
And coming back to that, I mean, that is a huge lesson and has been a huge lesson for me. And I think just to kind of speak to some of my archetypes, I run my own business. I have my own artistic and spiritual practice. I own two homes. I go between two different environments. I'm on my own. And so I think I'm always doing because I have to. Like you're doing because that's survival. And um I respect that. But then the work for me is getting back to that place of being and allowing myself to go at my own pace and just kind of exist, period, you know? And there's that's where the tension for me is, for sure. And yeah, I think, what did you have that one thing that you have one little thing that you say about like pl- planning when you're relaxing. What is it?
No, it's the opposite,
Pl-
but let's do planaxing. It's planicking, which is
Planaxing. That's what I do.
I say
What is it, Kat? Planicking.
Planicking is planning.
Girl, that really, that hits hard.
It's
That's loud.
it's planning from a state of panic, and that
Yeah.
really is like that
Yes.
feeling of
That was
being
40. That was me, 40. Planic
so
style.
how did you go from planic to almost 4-5 years later planaxing, planning and relaxing? What's that curve
Wow.
like?
Wow. I think it is naming the grief, right? And uh really showing up in it. And then being able to work from that place. So a lot of, the stuff around my grief, around not being, it's called childless by circumstance, which is a big difference than being child free, which is where you don't ever want children. And so being childless by circumstance, i.e., it just not working out, or not happening, is not acknowledged in society. So there's this ambiguous loss, this disenfranchised grief. And naming that, you feel a little silly because you're like, wow, I have so much. And meanwhile, don't forget, you're celebrating all of your friends who are going through this. And so you're in this kind of both and space. Those friendships are changing. And when I say change, I mean like getting further away. And there's just a bunch around legacy. I mean, I could go on, this could be a separate podcast, but back to your question, it's like realizing that and being like, shit, I'm kind of bummed when it's less of a freedom and more of a letting yourself mourn that. And then when you come out, that so then you're like, oh, let me what can I control? What can I how can I take charge of this story and let it, instead of letting this story happen to me? So that's the panicking, right? For me, I'm a Virgo sun, Virgo moon, Cancer rising. So the panicking was big. And then I think, you start to get more comfortable in that, talk about that, admit it to yourself, admit it to your family, look for support, look for other examples of women, which there aren't many, who are in the same position as you. And then you're like, okay, this is who I am. Like, how do I operate from this place? Like, what a freedom, and what a look at all this space I have to like reclaim who I am and explore who I am, not in that role. Um and that's kind of where I'm at now. And like that's exciting, Obviously there's a lot between getting to this place and the grief part, but
Well, that's
I'm
like
plan axing.
planaxing. I love that. Planning while relaxing. So like it sounds like, and tell me how you know you're there. How do you know when you're there? Is it like you pause? Yeah, you pause and you're like, oh, I handled this situation differently and now I can see that I've grown. Or like what? How do you know? Give me some examples.
That is such a great question. Like, ask self. I don't know. I think I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. I think it's being able to do this podcast. Yeah, like it's being able to um speak about myself and my journey without feeling bad. And this is I'm still working on this for sure. Like even doing this podcast, I'm like, wow, I don't want to seem like a downer. Like I don't want to seem like a bummer. That thought pattern is part of that. So I think it's going to be, my constant work. And I think with grief, it's just part of you. So you're not trying to get rid of it. You're not trying to you'll never be over it, right? You just kind of metabolize it um in a way that it then becomes your power. Not to get super existential, but that is you start to feel it um as something that is like a good part of you and an interesting part of you and a part of you that you can speak about, and hopefully someone else will feel comfortable because they feel seen in you. And so that's kind of the zone that I'm in now. But yeah, that's how you know.
That's how you know. I love it.
Just that.
Just that. Yeah, I got it.
Does that make any sense?
No, it does. I mean, I think a way that I know things is
yeah. Tell me, Kat, please.
I'll tell you, it's going to be as concise an answer. It's not sexy and it's very quiet, but there will be something that happens. Like I have the opportunity, and it's usually relational. Like I am somebody says something or does something, and then I have my response or my reaction. And then I'll often be able, or sometimes I'll be able to pause and be like, whoa, I handled that differently than I would have 5 years ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago or 1 month ago. And it's almost imperceivable to anyone else around me. But I feel it. Yeah.
What also a little build on that is, for me, I think it's not having to explain myself or explain my feelings. So, and that is, I seeing myself mirrored in my girlfriends. Like when I don't have to justify or kind of qualify my feelings about something, because people know me and know who I am and how I feel about something already, which kind of goes back to our initial thing. That's big. And that's a realization, And I think for so much of our lives before 40, you're trying to, say it louder or whatever. And then to have that in those little moments, like you said, it's not like on the big stage or whatever, but even when your friend listens to you complain about something and then gives you advice as to how, knowing how you would take in that issue. It's just that kind of stuff, that feels good.
Yeah. So 2 questions that I'm going to give you kind of side by side, because I want to give you space to keep running with what you're running with. And I think that these 2 questions that I ask everyone maybe give you more space. And one is okay, these are redundant. I'm realizing, but one is, what were you supposed to have done by now? And then it's what is one script you inherited about a woman your age, and how does that look for your life? And then it's another question is what pisses you off about the way women are represented at your age, or what's missing? So kind of all those, I'm just going to throw your way, and you can.
Yeah. Well, I'll kind of go in a different direction. So, I think just broadly, what's missing is women in their 40s doing it differently. And I don't mean that in small ways. I don't mean that not to, but like, having your own business or whatever. I mean, in big ways, like taking risks, taking financial risks, like I want to see that. And I think like looking at things differently and looking how you can live differently. And I think our generation, honestly, is probably the first generation to even have that opportunity, or to have space to even think about doing that. And so, you know, it's not to shit on anybody else, but it's just kind of like, um, like I mentioned, I had a vision for like where I would be now. And that felt very safe to me. And that felt like exciting and what I genuinely wanted. And when that doesn't work out, feeling empowered to figure out what does and then do that. You know, I'm a snowbird, so I live half the year in upstate New York and then half the year on the Gulf Coast of Florida in Dunedin, where I'm from. And making the decision and figuring out how to do that what is very difficult and continues to be difficult. And that transition and the financial responsibility and running the business and relationships and community, literally everything. It's like that wasn't an easy choice to make, but I knew for me, it was important for me to be by the water, to have time with my mom, like all of these things. And so kind of making the choice to live that way when I don't see any other woman doing that on her own was like a huge risk. And so I think what if we can see, in small and big ways, like more people who aren't celebrities, like, figuring it out, like it doesn't even have to be succeeding or like getting to a certain place. It's just like problem solving, right? Or not even problem solving, but just like solving or putting things together in different ways or alternative ways of communicating, doing a pot, like sharing, like you were saying. That I think is going to empower and allow more space for women wherever they are, whatever they're doing, to just kind of like ground down in themselves and be like, what do I need? You know? Like what is important for me, and if that isn't how it looks for everyone else, still try it.
Yeah, yes. And I I think I've said this on most of the episodes I've recorded so far. Like, I don't know what even I'm trying to do here with this podcast,
Totally.
except for a couple of things that like you're bringing up. I feel like I'm responding to with it, which is like, listen, I love all the celebrity experts, and I'm so happy for all the women who have like succeeded and like made it. And I like listening to them. And also I want to hear other people talk. Like I don't want to just keep hearing from the same few over and over and over again. And I also feel, I guess, extraordinarily lucky that I am having really vivid and interesting and helpful conversations with the real life women in my life, you being one of them. And like, it's not to knock us. Like, I mean, we all have our own accomplishments and successes. Not any one of us is like on this major big stage, but like, who among us are? And I just want to say that, like, I want to talk to you and share this conversation, and we are worthy of having it because we are who we are. And like, that really matters. Like, that we have done all the things in our life and our own experience has validity as something worth sharing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think you're giving a platform and a voice, at least I know with my episode, but I'm assuming with others, and even just your act of taking your idea and expanding it or giving it more of a runway, it's like giving that voice and platform to just figuring it out, to like literally being in process, right? Um, and everything that comes with it. And I'm I just watched a masterclass of Amy Poehler, and she said something. She was like, "Hell is a hallway," meaning you haven't picked a door yet. You're not back there. You're not up here, right? And I like really felt that, because then I think if we can just normalize the hallway, right? And which is what you're doing. And give voice to that. That is like, that's a success in itself. I mean, that is worth celebrating. And so, yeah, I really kind of feel that. And it's, the 40 topic, or being in your 40s, or even being a woman in 2026 America, is, very much that. Um, so
Well, I mean, the hallway is the portal, and you used the word liminal earlier. And I remember reading that word in a book by Terry Tempest Williams called, not this one. Oh, maybe it is. Finding Beauty in a Broken World is the one I'm looking at, but I don't think it's that one. I think it's the book that she wrote, yeah, called When Women Were Birds. And
ah, yes.
have you read that? Have you read that?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So good.
Put that in the show notes.
Put that in the show notes. Yes, totally. I read that probably when I was 28 or 29. And
oh,
she
really?
talks yeah.
Wow.
She talks about the word liminal. And I remember reading it and being like, there's a word for this. And it's like, and it's actually, if my understanding and my memory is correct at age 40, it's like a psychology term that's like, you've literally like taken off the mantle of like the easiest one is like, oh, a maiden becoming a queen, or like the princess becoming a queen. Like she takes off her princess crown and has yet to put on her queen crown. And I just think that's so much of life. And because we're operating on so many different planes at once, you might be like, oh, I've walked through the door of this particular decision, but over here, I'm out in the hallway on this, like these 10 other topics.
mm-hmm. Right. It takes some of the pressure off, honestly, to be, and I'm not saying that I figured it out by any means. Like, I am in it, but just to kind of like name it to claim it, right? You're like, this is, and now it's like this, and that getting comfortable with that and acknowledging that in all of it that's the work.
I just appreciate how much you get that concept of liminality and being in the hallway. And like, I need people to know that I think you're such a great friend because you are, I think, and you give what you get, like, I hope that you feel that you receive this. Like, you're just so down to like meet people where they are too. And so I'm like, Al, I'm in the portal. I'm in this 40 portal, and I'm going to bring this notebook to my party, and I want you to sign it.
Yeah.
and, and then you show up at my party like a few days later, and you hand me, and it got chipped.
The
but I think
portal.
That's fine too. The portal. It's like this portal prism. And I still have this note, like it's like for help navigating the portal. Like it's all right there. And I'm looking at your portal submission too. And maybe you didn't say this. Right? I don't know. Maybe I made this up. I think you said this to me in like a text message because it's not here. But I think you said something like, you know what? I don't think it ends. Like we're always in the portal. I really think you said that
exactly. To me. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think that, speaking on one of your questions earlier about like what you thought it was going to be like and what it's actually like or whatever, it's like 40 being when you're going to have it all figured out, stuff's going to look like this. You're going to feel like you can take a breath. And, it's not it. And it doesn't need to be, So, and I appreciate you just bringing all of that to light, because I think so much of it, including myself, who isn't, in the space that a lot of women at 40 are, like, you just grin and bear it. You just like white knuckle it. You're like, let's grind, like, let's, and it doesn't have, like, yes, we have to do that as, women, but we can do it like together, um, you know, in a more, shared way.
Yeah, totally. And that's part of this too, is like, there's something about being in good company and not
Mhm.
feeling as alone. It's so meaningful.
Absolutely.
And honestly, like, I knew, and I wonder too, because like I think you're talking a little bit too in your answers about just kind of knowing what you know and trusting it. And one of the ways that I do that is like, I knew that if I didn't do this, if I didn't bring the notebook to the party, if I didn't do this podcast, I would regret not doing it, even though I don't even know what success looks like for this. I don't even know what, like, I just know that if I didn't do it, that would be the regret. And I think this also brings us back, now I'm hopping topics, to like, we're so obsessed with the outcome of things. And so much of life is lived in the process of things. And I think I just want to spend more time showing that, talking about it, talking through it. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, that's a big thing that I work on in multiple areas of life with my therapist. Shout out Valerie Heller. Like, accepting what is, the actuality of things, what, because reality is how we view something, our narrative that we're putting on something, which is obviously based on our background and lived experience and abandonment, etc. And then it's like what actually is, and reclaiming that power of showing up. Um, and it's just, we have to like continue to do that
Mm-hmm.
in general. So I love that
It's
you
good.
brought the notebook, Kath.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I couldn't not do it. That's the thing. Okay. So this is an earlier on question, but I didn't ask it because you told us. And the question is, how old are you? Part two, how old do you feel?
Well, I'm gonna be 45 in August. How old do I feel? I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, that's a tricky one, because I definitely don't feel like 45 to me seems old. Um, it seems like basically 50. And I don't feel like that. I feel like I'm in my 30s. But then I also, as you know, I'm a very like old lady spirit. I enjoy a lot of, I'm living in Florida. so and it's kind of like back to the, I don't identify in like human labels. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, but that said, it would be unfair of me to not see age as a marker, because I have, I'm like a big timeline person. So I have a lot of, attachment to certain ages. Um, so I don't know. It's kind of like all tangly mess.
Mm-hmm. What is still ahead of you?
Um, Massive wealth. Um, money. Um, uh, Le Pied a Terre on the Upper West Side. Travel, international travel. A uh attractive man with a boat. It's a bonus if it's a sailboat. Probably more dogs. Those are some material things. Freedom, uh, like mental freedom, um, like forgiveness of me to me, forgiveness, activism, um, like real activism, like really in it, and serving in that way, or making a difference, or contributing, speaking on the legacy part, how can I move the needle there, or at least like support the movement. uh what's ahead. Yeah, just I don't know, like the unknown, which is exciting and terrifying. And I'm trying to get better. I am getting better at holding both of those. And keep it on.
Mm-hmm. I kind of asked this as like one of three parts of a question, which is like, what pisses you off about the way women are represented as they age? I wonder if you have anything else to say there. And I'm also wondering, like, and I'm kind of, well, this kind of goes to the work that you do in the world too. It definitely does. Like that representation of what it means to be a woman. What is your hot take on that? And then if what you're seeing out there doesn't feel like it fits, or it's particularly helpful, then where do you look for your wisdom and for your own like kind of mirroring? Those are I can't stop asking you compound questions.
That's okay. I love it. Well, I think, I could there's a lot of answers to those questions. What pisses me off is this stereotype of single, unmarried, childless women in their 40s. Um, if there is even an acknowledgement that they exist. So that pisses me off. I want to see, we have like Tracy Ellis Ross, but like who else, like where are the normal girlies? Like how are they going on vacation? How are they affording it? Where are they going? What are they doing? How are they being safe? Like, like let's see some more of that. It's not a spinster. It's not, well, you could be married if you wanted to, or well, why didn't you just do IVF? Or like enough of that. Um, so that pisses me off. The spinster, the hag, the witch. Don't get me started on the witch
Wait,
situation. Like,
tell me, because I kind of don't. I like being a witch. Do you don't like it?
oh, I love being a witch. Like, I
Okay.
definitely identify as a witch, but the entire visual of what a witch is made by men to keep women down. And it originated from women being the doctors and the elders in the community and the healers. That's what a witch is. So, anyway, without getting terribly off track, I think those like micro archetypes of women, I wish were more visual or represented in society. I think we're doing a lot better. I hope to be a model of that for my nieces. But like growing up, I just saw my mom and all her friends who are all the same. I saw the Disney princesses. I saw, go on the holidays, watch any commercial. It's a nuclear family. It's getting better, but like, the woman is a role. And so it's like, what does alternatives of that look like? Um, what were other parts of that question? What can
But you
women
are
do?
doing that. Like you are
I'm
doing
doing
that.
it.
You are in I
Yes.
mean, your Substack is one place where you are like actually like
Yeah.
all the things you were saying you're not seeing is like what you're writing about and
Yes.
and so
Yes.
funny. writing
Yes.
about.
And
It's
that's
so
really
good.
hard for me. Like that, and even this is really uncomfortable for me. And I'm trying to get better at that. And I shouldn't even say I'm trying to get, because I'm not. I'm just trying to use my voice more, and be more comfortable using my voice, because I've only now at 44 plus been able to do that without reckoning with complete emotional disintegration around the topic. You know what I mean? So I don't want to trivialize how raw that is for women like me. But to your point, yes, like the Substack, my writing, I think it was it Joan Didion who said something to the effect of like, people write to just figure out what they're thinking. And for me, that's so true. It's to like put the pieces together, make sense of it. To your question of like, where do you look? Me, you know? Like, I mean, obviously, I have a ton of inspiring women in my life. My mom, my girlfriends, you, Kath. Like, I have never lacked in that area. And I'm so thankful for that. But a lot of it has been work for me, has been around self-trust and doing that, like going inward, going to the mat. And I'm still learning how to do that. So yeah, the vulnerability of that is, figuring out what feels good in that area, which is probably different for everybody, but yeah.
I think I've only asked one other guest this, and you don't even need to have an answer, but I'm going to ask it because we've already mentioned like books. But do you have is there like a book or books that you, I don't know, have been really impactful to you that you want to just put into the conversation?
I will say, and in like talking about role models or like powerful women using their voice, here comes our intern, is Joan Didion, Nora Ephron. Just the like not giving a shit that she wrote with.
Mommy.
Like
Texting. Hi.
I hear your voice in those.
I had that same haircut.
Yeah, I did too.
Who are you talking to?
That's Allison. Remember, I told you this is a very important meeting that I can't be disturbed.
We're on a meeting. Oh, he can't hear me.
He can't hear you. Can you give me 5 more minutes, then we'll check the mail?
No, I want to do it right now.
We have to wait until I told you the books would be here after my call.
No, it takes me now here.
Here's what I need you to do. I need you to give me 5 minutes, okay? You can sit here quietly. That's fine with me.
It's okay. Can I sit on your lap?
Yeah, you may sit on my lap. Okay.
I like
Okay, I'm going to move.
What's this?
It's nothing. You have to be very quiet for this part, okay? Okay.
Why are you not?
Because I'm going to be talking and your voice will be quiet, okay? Can you do that for me?
Can you put those back in here?
No. And I'm going to have to put you back in your room if you can't sit, okay? Will you try to be quiet for 5 minutes?
Can I do this?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to move us into the portal wisdom, and I'm going to read a submission, and just wherever you want to go with it is where we go. Okay. This writer, well, I think she tells you how old she is as I read it. Let's see. This is what she wrote. You asked me about turning 40 back at your 40th, and I have been stymied by how to respond. It feels like yesterday when I had my 40th, and also as if it were another lifetime ago. So much has happened between then and now, and sort of like nothing, life just goes. And it takes me along with it. I can report that turning 50, now that was a milestone I won't soon forget. I lost my shit and spent the day in some sort of weird purgatory of my own making, which included cutting off all my hair alone in the bathroom. It wasn't pretty, and being sullen, and ended with a lovely party and lots of drinking and dancing. And now here I am at 66. I no longer drink. I know. I no longer drink, but still love to dance. 40 is a milestone, but somehow every day is. I don't know, Kath.
Oh, yes.
It's a mystery, this life we're living.
Truly, what a perfect passage. Who is this woman? Do I know this person?
You probably do. But like, and she's
Okay.
like, Kath, I didn't really answer your question. I'm like, you gave me so much
I know.
more. You gave me so much more. So what do you think, Al?
Well, when she was like, I remember turning 40. I don't remember that. I don't remember it super clearly. I mean, I remember parts of it, obviously, but I was like very much in grief. So that's kind of like but yeah, like the part about like every day is just so good. And starting in the bathroom sad, ending dancing and drinking, like that's a yes for me. It's just, you never know. I just feel like with my own self, even when you know yourself so well, you still have no idea where your brain's gonna go. So it's kind of like being up for the ride, and this woman sounds like she's present on that ride, on her trip. And I love that. And I hear that, and I just give her a high five for sure.
I know. I loved this entry, and I was like, well, this is the one I want to share with Al, because I think there's so much.
Thank you for sharing that with me. That is such a gift.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I'm taking away, I mean, so much, and then what you said, and it's funny because you had the same reaction where this woman said, I don't even remember turning 40. And you're like, I kind of don't remember it. Whereas here I am, I've like literally been obsessed with this all year.
You know who else, Cap, not to interrupt you, now I'm still thinking about your women authors question. Fran Lebowitz. Put that babe on the pedestal, like telling it like it is, speaking her truth. I mean, that's a good example. That's a good example, I think.
Pretend it's a city.
Pretend it's a city. Just, I mean, I'm obsessed. That's another one I'm obsessed with. Now I'm going to be, it's a good little jog.
Just text me. We'll do like in the show notes, like Al's top 10 or something. I have to say though, like and I'm going to wrap us, but like, yes, in a minute, George. These women like you report on admiring and identifying with, like, I just see so many of their qualities like through you. And do you know that? Like, do you know that you like kind of shine back what you're seeking to take in? Yeah, good.
There's definitely a transition, kind of like we were saying, between seeing people as different from you, close and far, and then being able to recognize like the through lines or the tethers that we all have, regardless of like where we're at in life or whatever. And that's a gift to be able to see that more clearly. I think with age. I think that comes with age. I don't know.
Welcome to the portal, babe.
We're in it, babe. We're in it. We're like, this is me rowing. I'm like rowing. I'm like
still in
the arm.
Yeah.
Still in it.
still in it. Oh my God, you're a joy. Thank you so much for being here. I
love
appreciate
you,
so
Kath.
much.
Thank you for giving me the space and the safe space to talk about everything.
I
Use
love you too.
whatever
I
you
think-
want.
Thank you. I will. We'll use it all. That's what we do. Oh my goodness. What a good hang, Alison. Al. I'm just so grateful that you are in my life. And I know that if you're listening, you're like, wow, I can't believe I got to meet her too. I'm going to link to everywhere where you can find Alison because her writing is so smart. Her creative work that she actually does in the business that she runs, which we didn't talk about in the episode, is phenomenal. I've worked with her and highly, highly recommend her creative agency, Best. It's called Best. Like, what a great name. I'll link to all the places where you can find her because I know that you're going to want to learn more and spend more time with Alison too. Okay, that's all we have for this week. Join us back next week. We've got another conversation I'm super excited about. And again, like I said at the top of the episode, I'll link to the retreat. Come find me there. We could do this in real life together, which is so much better than just through the earbuds. So I hope you'll consider joining me if the retreat is something that feels like it's right for you this June 17th through the 19th in the Hudson Valley. And while we're still here together, why don't you take a moment, if the episode resonated with you, to make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast, to make sure that you share it with a friend, perhaps, who would see herself in this episode as well, who really needs to hear some of Al's wisdom. We can't gatekeep it. We got to keep passing it along. It's how we all get stronger together and braver and kinder and more authentically ourselves. So thank you so much for being here. God, the 40 portal. I am just so happy. I'm so happy we're all in it together. I'll see you right back here next time.